Alright guys, welcome to the video. Anthony Speciale here with Hawkeye Traders. Going to be taking a look at NVIDIA today. This has literally been a market leading stock. Plan on doing an upcoming article on it discussing like what this company is worth per employee. I saw an image the other day of what each employee was worth based upon stock options and things of that nature, and the net worth of the company, and top companies, Google, Apple, things of that nature. When I saw NVIDIA, I mean, it just blew it out of the water. Just absolute insane. I mean, this stock in itself has really propelled the market to these new highs that we've seen over the past couple weeks. So we're going to talk about price action. We're going to talk about volume in this video. We're going to talk about how the Hawkeye indicators can give you some insight here to what's going on. I want to talk about some technical analysis, how the market may pull back, and where we would likely find support and things of that nature as well. So, without further ado, let's just kind of dive in. We're going to look at a few time frames. All right, so we're going to start off. I'm going to go all the way out to the monthly chart, only because we're looking at literally, guys, look at this. I mean, this has been like a vertical run. Now, those of you who have seen my videos before know that I lean heavily on the Hawkeye WideBar, okay? The WideBar is telling me that prior to this candle printing, right, a calculation taken off of the prior 14 bars, and it doesn't matter which time frame it's on, that this bar has moved in excess of the setting that we have it at internally. So it's notable and should be taken into consideration. When I see a Hawkeye WideBar, I'm normally dropping a box around it, a line at the top or the bottom, depending on which direction the market here is trending in. And believe it or not, you can do this on multiple time frames and really get a good idea, a very basic, analysis. So you can see we had one setback here. You can see we then closed above it, all right, in this candle right here. And you can see we kind of consolidated there a little bit. Now, I want you to notice something very specifically. Again, this is a monthly chart, guys, so this is macro. This is big picture. This is like position entry trading, all right? Something that you plan on holding on to. Notice how when we broke the high of this wide bar, and by using the high of the prior wide bar, notice how this area, this zone, if you would, provided support for any little kind of pullback that transpired here, right? We'll mark that off. We'll make it green because, well, clearly set the stage. This area, these two wide bars, the highs very specifically, set the stage for this parabolical run. Okay, so don't you think that's important? I do. Okay? So, super important. I think we got to keep an eye on that, right? Where else do we have a wide bar that printed? Well, we have one right here. Okay? So, I think the high of that candle, to me, is very meaningful. And if I wanted to create space around it, I would use the wick kind of specifically, right? Saying, all right, this wick here of that wide bar, as you can see, we closed, we took a little gap open here, and then we were able to successfully push higher. So to me, that becomes pretty meaningful. All right? So now let's dial in here to a weekly chart, okay? And now you can see with a little more clarity that this area, how much support it provided before we ultimately kind of went onward and upward. And I'm going to zoom in, because now I want to sit here and start marking off these other wide bars. And again, you would be amazed just how informational these significant candles are, okay, in making big decisions, right? So let's talk about it. We come out of here, we place another wide bar, we push the following month, we continue to push, we get a little hesitation. All right, we hesitate for 1 month before we are able to push above this high. We come up, make a new high. Excuse me. We stumble here and have a hard time, getting our way through. We actually pulled back a little bit into this wide bar, and sometimes you can use the entire wide bar, right? You can say, all right, well, here's my high, here's my low. That candle is meaningful. Staying above it, retesting it, any component of it is meaningful. That candle did something out of the ordinary that no other candle that printed did, right? It met our internal coding specification to print this magenta color saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Trader, you need to pay attention to this. It's going to provide insights to what is to come, all right? So notice this created the pullback, right? We found some support here. I drew this trend line, and I'll make this orange so it looks a little bit different. I don't want anyone to get confused in colors here. All right, and then I went to the high of the next wide bar. Okay, and you can see we retested the high, and then we fell back. All right, and then we went on to continue and push above that high. Now, what am I expecting here? Okay, so this is the monthly marking that we made before. So if NVIDIA does take a stall here for a period of time, if it does take a correction, and by correction, I don't mean, fall apart, I mean just pull back, right? In any trend, at some point or another, there's going to be a correction. It doesn't matter if it's an uptrend, a downtrend, the market has to oscillate. It has to, right? Nothing can run parabolical forever. Right, and you've seen that in like the meme stocks they call them, like the GameStop and AMC theaters and stuff like that. Things that run like that eventually crash like that because it just becomes unsustainable, an unsustainable move. Right. So would I be surprised if NVIDIA takes a breather? I wouldn't. So this would be the first area that I would potentially see it pulling back towards, this 116.5 down to roughly 109.5. If we broke that, I would then say, hey, we could potentially come back into this area here, roughly 97.5. Okay, so those are areas that we could see a correction come into play. And how are we identifying them? By just the wide bar. Okay. Every drawing you see on the screen, with the exception of this trend line that I marked in yellow so that it looks different, is just in conjunction around the wide bars, right? So far we've looked at the monthly time frame and the weekly time frame. Now we're going to go to the daily time frame, right? So now this is a daily chart. And I want you to pay very close attention to yesterday's candle, right? It's a wide bar. Right? So that tells me I need to now be super careful and say, hey, when price comes back up here, there's a chance that it could find resistance again. But if it pushes and closes above it, there's a good chance there could be some continuation. All right? And now notice I'll mark at the bottom here as well, because we have on a daily basis settled below this candle. And so I would call this area, for the moment, until proven otherwise, an area of resistance. And again, I'm just working off of one single candle, guys. Why am I working off of one single candle? Because this single candle has to meet a certain criteria that we at Hawkeye have set in place in order for it to print in this fashion. So I use wide bars constantly. One of the primary things when I'm scanning the market, where are the wide bars and how did price react before it and after it and around it, above and below it, right? Is the wide bar in an uptrend? Is it in a downtrend? Is it the reversal itself, right? So these things are super, to me, super important. So to me, from the low of that candle, which the exact low is 129.52, to the high, the exact high is 140.76. For the moment, I would consider this resistance. Now, I consider it resistance in an uptrend. So what would I be looking for here if I'm trying to buy NVIDIA? Okay, I like the stock. It's the #1 leading stock in the entire stock market. The largest market cap. I mean, really, this is running up there. Tesla, Google, Apple, Facebook, Meta, that whole, like, it's there, okay? I would like to see a little pullback, right? I mean, I think this here's a great spot to try to buy the dip, right? And if it does fall, could be a great spot to buy the dip here. If you're looking to own it long term, and this is totally up to your strategy, and of course leave it to your financial advisor, but if I was trying to build a position in NVIDIA because I believe that I want to add it to my portfolio, okay? I don't want to trade it, I want to own it, but I'm looking to buy the dip. I would probably want to consider start averaging in here at this first layer of support. If it pulls back a little deeper, average in a little more, right? If it pulls back a little deeper, average in. And as you average in, your basis will continue to drop, meaning your averaged price won't be all the way up here, depending on how many times and where you enter, it will average its way in. So you'll have a lower cost basis. That's what it's called, cost basis. So guys, yeah, I mean, it comes down to being really just that simple. If you're sitting there saying, I'm kind of new to trading, or I've been doing this for a little while and I feel like I could do better, or I've been doing this for a long while and I still feel like there's always room for improvement, because there is. I'm 13 years in. I always feel like I need to improve every day. Adding these tools and having access to the Hawkeye Mastery Library so that you can really dive deep into why these tools were built in a very certain and particular fashion, and how to use them properly can be invaluable. Again, even when I day trade intraday, I am using the WideBars, I am using the Hawkeye volume radar dots, I am using the Hawkeye volume very specifically, the paint bar, the pivots, right? And this is the basic volume package, and that's all you see on my screen. I will remove the drawings, and that's what you see, okay? This is just volume in the background, okay? But this is the Hawkeye volume. The radar dots there are behind the volume bars. The candles are painting in relative to the volume, the actual volume, all right? And then the pivots show you what period of the market are we in, right? The market can only do a few things. It can consolidate, it can exit that consolidation, it can enter that consolidation, it can trend, it can reverse, right? So you need to be able to identify them. And the pivots, if you notice, when the lower pivots and the upper pivots are rising, well, what are we doing? We're in an upward market, right? I always tell people, if you don't know how to draw a trend line and you haven't been versed in really kind of traditional analysis, like literally just connect the dots and you'll be able to tell what direction the market's going in, right? I mean, I'm probably touching 4 or 5 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip that one, 5, 6, 7, right? Like if the Hawkeye pivots are rising, the market's rising, right? The Hawkeye pivots are sideways, the market's in consolidation. The pivots are, going lower, we're in a downtrend, right? So some people get kind of, they overthink that thought process a little bit. So we've kept it to, I don't want to call it a bare minimum because it's everything you need and nothing more, right? Most people, you look at their screen and you go, oh my God. And half the stuff they have populating on their screen, they don't even know how it works or how to use it. Nor have they built a purpose around it or anything. Like they've just, well, somebody told me to put the Bollinger Bands, and somebody told me to put a MACD, and somebody told me to put these pivots, and somebody told me to put this, random indicator, right? Like you can go to indicators here, and you can go to community scripts, and I mean, this goes on forever. Like you just pick the ones you want, trending, top ones. I mean, there's just so many here. And what most people don't realize is indicators are populated off of what's already printed, okay? An indicator is simply taking something somebody coded and then making it populate on your screen. I always, compare it to a watch, right? Like this is a wristwatch, this is an Apple Watch, okay? The Apple Watch tells me time very efficiently. There's no app that I can put on this to make it tell me time any more efficiently than it already does. And I feel the same way about volume and price action. There's no app or indicator or software that you can apply to volume and price action that will give me any leading indicator of what it's going to do next other than what it's already done. And if I know how to interpret what it's already done, I can now put together a thesis about what it could potentially do next. And if it meets my trade plan, or one of my trade plans, or one of my approaches to the market, then I'll very simply act upon it. Okay? And I want to make it that simple for you. Most people are struggling at trading is because they've overcomplicated it. You should be able to tell me in a 2 or 3 floor elevator ride exactly how you trade the market. It shouldn't take any longer than 90 seconds to say, hi, my name is, and I trade the market employing this plan. Done. Okay? Hi, my name's Anthony. I trade the market employing volume and price action, integrating order flow that I've specifically set up to meet my needs. That's it. That's it. Because that's all I need to know and all somebody else needs to know the way that I approach the market. And your approach should be that simple. Okay? So with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to go below this video, click on the link. I'd like you to watch a training webinar, take a little bit of time, grab a pen and a piece of paper, jot down your notes, all right? I want you to give us the opportunity to put these indicators on your chart. I want to give you the opportunity to browse through the Hawkeye Mastery Library, where you're going to understand volume and price action to the level I do, okay? And the level every professional trader does. And then I want you to now start building or modifying your trade plan, removing the things that are lagging and starting to consider employing the things that are leading. And what's leading is the story that volume and price action tells. Once you're able to read that story, you're able to now say, okay, I understand that when this happens, it could be because of X, Y, Z. Right? And now I can make a plan. A, B, C is what I'm going to do next. So you will end up simplifying, believe it or not, once you understand the relationship between volume and price action, simplifying your entire approach to the market, guys. And believe it or not, you're going to then come to the market. You're not going to have any anxiety left because it's going to be so simple that you can't screw it up. Because you're going to know when I see this and it does that, I'm going to do this. And that's it. And with great risk management skills, I'm going to do this over and over and over again. I know I'm going to take small losses. I know I'm going to take larger wins. My wins should be as frequent or more frequent than my losses. And after a period of however many trades, you statistically are going to use to create your average, you should find profitability. The trade plan isn't the variable, it's the trader. But if the trade plan is simple, the trader can do a better job executing it. And that's what I want to help you do. I want to help you see the market through the most simplistic and the most meaningful assets that the market can offer you. And that's volume and price action. So go ahead, click that video link below, consume the content, take some notes. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll answer any questions that you have. Let's get the indicators on your trading platform. They function on TradeStation, TradingView, NinjaTrader, and MetaTrader. So the most popular platforms, this has been coded to work on. Right? Keep it simple. Right? Focus on the volume and price action, and you would be completely shocked how much easier it is to understand not only what's happened, but predict what's likely to happen next. Guys, I'll see you in the next video. I appreciate you being here. I hope you learned something, and I look forward to hearing from you. God bless, and have a beautiful day.